Okay, so what I did is I didn't change anything. We're still gonna change all of um, the text later on, but I just want to get done with the printing part or the adding the elevation part in the section. So we have the floor plan set, we have the RCP, and what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna right click here and I'm gonna create a copy of the RCP. So I'm gonna right click and then I'm gonna go to move or copy as we did before, and then we're going to create a copy of the RCP. So I highlight the RCP, create a copy, okay? And then we have one placed here. So just to move it a little bit ahead, I'm going to click on RCP and then click and hold the left mouse button and then place it here. If you don't want layout to, just right click here and you can delete it. Okay, so we're left with only the ones that we're going to be printing. Now here, one of the things that we want to do is want to see if we can fit 2 elevations or 3 elevations, or how many elevations can we fit according to 1 to 20 scale. Now, the problem is mine might be because I only have 1 elevation or trying to combine 2. How to combine 2 if you have 2? Now I have, I'm just going to double click here and then I'm going to type pan and I'm going to pan the view. Now, as you can see, I can't pan anything, and this is because I forgot the RCP2 or the copy is also locked in. So I need to unlock it, and now I have the pan. Now, if I pan, I'm not changing the scale, but here I can see that one elevation actually fits, and if one elevation fits, that's fine according to 1 to 20. But what if I have multiple elevations? What can I do? We have a lot of options for that. The first one, I'm just going to right click and exit, and then I'm going to try to highlight. I'm just going to double click here. So when I double click in the gray area, I'm out uh, of the viewport, and then I'm going to try to highlight that viewport, and I'm going to delete it. Okay, so once I delete it, I'm going to go to viewports again. So I'm just going to type viewports, enter, and I can select a single view. I'm going to select single. Now, sometimes actually, if you have 4 elevation, one of the things that's going to happen is that you can pick 4, and then all 4 of them are going to be here. But I would rather that you click on single because you can keep adding according to the size, because you can have one of the views here, one of the views as 1 to 50 and another one as 1 to 20. Okay, so and another one 1 to 10. So that's the beauty of using single, because you can keep multiplying them according to the scale that you want. So that's why I use single most of the time. So I'm going to click on single and okay, and then I'm going to click and drag here. Now, this is not to scale yet, so if I click on it, all right, I'm just gonna play with the scale a little bit. Let's say that I want the elevation that I have here. Those are the same elevation, but I just place them next to each other just to see how to print if you have 2 elevation. I know that some of you have multiple elevations, so let's see how each one of those is going to be printed next to the other. One of them is without dimensions, the other one is with dimension. So let's see if I can use 1 to 50. Okay, so I clicked on 1 to 50. I'm going to double click inside, and as you can see, I can click here and expand the pan view. Okay, and I have one of the elevations just set here. All right, now I'm going to right click and exit. I'm going to double click inside, and one of the elevation is inside of the view according to 1 to 50. Now, can I use, the best thing is to always use anything with increments of 5. So 1 to 50, 1 to 20, 1 to 10 is the most advisable. What if I want to use 1 to 20? Well, 1 to 20 might work as well, but is it going to fit another elevation next to it? If I'm going to expand, I'm going to click on one of those nodes of the viewport, and I'm going to expand this a little bit. I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to see if I can move this. Well, yeah, it does. It can fit an elevation, okay, and probably if I just move the elevation a little bit down as well, it's going to be okay if I have some dimensions here. But if you have 4 elevations, then 1 to 20, is not going to fit all of the elevations inside. So this is why you might need to switch to 1 to 50 if you have multiple elevations. And then what you will do is that you're going to make this a little bit smaller, like that. Okay. And you just need to expand a little bit around it. Maybe you have some dimensions. Okay. And I'm going to double click here. Press escape first to get out of the blue boundaries. And what you can do is that you can even move using the move command, you can move the viewport boundary. So once you selected, click enter, and then select one of the points. I'm just going to click on the point here, and I can actually place it here. All right. Now another thing is, what if I want to place another viewport? Now I can actually copy that selection. So I just right click on the boundary and I'm going to copy that selection and click and drag that. So I know that that's exactly the same size as the first one. All right. So what I did, again, I'm going to do this so you can see it. I'm going to click here. And once I click, I'm selecting the viewport. I wouldn't advise that you click on the lock right now because we're still doing a lot of other viewports. So that's why I'm hesitant to click here because I still have other viewports to fill. But what I can do is that just to make sure that what I'm going to create as another viewport is an exact copy, I'm just going to right click, highlight. After highlighting the viewport, I'm just going to right click here and I'm going to go to copy selection. So I'm going to click on copy selection, click here on any of the corner point and then drag down. Okay, if you keep doing this, you're gonna be placing them accordingly. If I'm just going to turn off object snap, maybe I can snap here. Okay, ortho so that they are actually aligned, and then those are my elevations. So maybe you have 3 elevations and you're placing them like this, and then we're gonna add the section in here. So let's see. Now I have one elevation. What about the other one? Just gonna double click here. All right. And once I double click, I need to pan. So I'm gonna type pan, enter, and then I'm gonna pan here. So this is the other elevation because I panned and I know exactly, you definitely know where your elevations are scattered. So when you're panning, you know, for example, that this is gonna be my other elevation, which is located in the north and so on. So when you're panning, just bear in mind where the elevations are scattered. So that's the other elevation that I have, supposedly. And I'm going to right click and exit. Now I'm going to double click outside. So I have one elevation here and then I have another one. And then maybe you have a third one. So I'm going to double click inside this viewport or the third viewport, type pan. And then I'm going to click and drag. Maybe this is supposedly my my other elevation. So I have all of those elevations, okay, set to the same size, the same viewport size, and within the same sheet. Now, sometimes I'm just going to exit that. What if I have something that I want to bring in that is larger than the 1 to 20? Because those two are 1 to 20. So I'm just going to delete that. And I have one section, if you noticed, I have one section that is set in not in a landscape, but in a portrait type. So maybe I can have those two. I know that this is 1 to 50. And this one is 1 to 50. So I'm just going to lock that. And then I'm going to click here. And then I'm going to lock that. I'm going to press escape on my keyboard. Now I want to bring in this section, but with a different scale. So I'm going to type viewport, okay, and enter. Remember that viewports is with an S at the end. And then I'm going to go to single, okay, and perhaps I just want to refer to those. So I'm just going to highlight, I'm just going to hovering over this point because I want to start from where this point is. And then I'm just also going to hover over to pick that point, and maybe I'm just going again here. And now I have all my my drawing. Now, the other thing I need is just to bring in the the section with a different scale, because this is 1 to 50. I want the section to be larger. So what I will do is that I'm gonna click here, and then once I select the whole viewport, I'm gonna click on the viewport scaling. I'm gonna select 1 to 20, and then I'm gonna double click inside. I'm gonna try to pan the view and see if I can bring in this in a bigger view. Actually, you know, I think I can go a little bit bigger. I think 1 to 50 is excellent. So so now this is my section, right click and exit, double click here, and then I have this section, okay, set to 1 to 20. So I'm gonna click to lock it and press escape to get out of the blue boundary. And now I have two elevations, okay, and each one of them is set to 1 to 50. And I have the section set to completely different scale, which is 1 to 20. And that's why it's really important to know how to print from paper space, because paper space is going to allow you to print each view that you have, each drawing that you have from the model view according to its own scale. Okay, so I'm glad that we talked this term about printing from model view. You know how to print from model view, but the main asset for you in this course is to know how to print from model from paper view, as I had shown you, because it means that you can have or different each viewport or each drawing according to a different different scale. We can also move this if we want to. So I'm gonna click on it and I'm just gonna I'm gonna move the viewport itself. So I can do that without changing what I selected. So I'm just gonna move this a little bit here. All right, and we can have this. I'm just trying to make the drawing neat as possible, like this. I'm gonna click on move again. Something like that. And as you can see here, of course, yours are going to be with layers. Okay, so your layers are going to be here. I didn't add layers to this or that, but with elevations as well, with dimensions as well. So for me, I managed to add 2 elevations and 1 section inside one drawing. But you might have 4 elevations, so those 4 elevations are going to have a dedicated sheet, and then you're going to create another sheet. So here I'm going to rename this as rename elevation and section. That, okay, but you might end up with elevation, and then elevation, just another sheet dedicated to elevations, and then you're going to have another sheet dedicated to section. So the combination of this is going to be 4 sheets. So that's how you are printing your elevation and section. The next video is about how to change that, and it's actually very simple. In next class you're gonna, or the next CAD class, you're gonna know about attributes, which will allow you to change these periodically, which means that I can click on RCP and change that. But because this is a block, any change that I apply here is going to be, so for example, if I write A4, this is going to be applied again to floor plan. I don't want that. What I want is actually just you know, pressed on the middle mouse wheel just to zoom in. So what I have here is that I need to explode this, and because it's a block, and then I'm gonna write, this is A4, and for the RCP I'm gonna explode it and write A3, and there you go. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do in the next video.